All right, lesson 45, dividing a decimal number by a whole number. The distance from Margaret's house to school and back is 3.6 miles. How far does Margaret live from school? All right, so we're going from Margaret's house to school, and then we're going back. So the distance there is 3.6, and the distance back is 3.6. So you can either add 3.6 two times, or you can do 3.6 times 2, which gives me 7.2 miles. Don't forget we moved the decimal one space because there's one decimal space here and none here. All right, let's do some division. So I'm doing 4.5 divided by 3. So 4.5 divided by 3. The outside number is already a whole number. It's not a decimal, so you're good to go. Eventually we're going to move the decimal, but all of these are going to have a whole number. So I'm just going to do how many times does 3 go into 4? And that would be 1 time. And then I multiply 3 times 1, which is 3. And I'm going to subtract these. 4 minus 3 is 1. And I'm going to bring down the 5. And you just kind of ignore the decimal at first. And then 3 goes into 15 5 times. And 5 times 3 is 15. So we went in all the way evenly. And then the decimal moves straight up. So you need to be careful to line up your digits and where you're lining up your digits. So I get 1.5. Let's try 0.4 divided by 5. So I've got 0.4 on the inside divided by 5. So 5 doesn't go into 0, so we're going to put a 0 here. And then the decimal moves straight up. And then 5 does not go into 4 either, so we're going to put a 0 there. We're allowed to add more zeros here. So now I'm doing 5 into 40, and 5 goes into 40 8 times, and I put it above the 0 right here. And then I'm done, because when I subtract 40, I get 0. All right, 10 into 1.4. All right, so I've got 1.4 divided by 10. Again, 10 does not go into 1, so I put a 0. I move the decimal straight up. Now I'm doing 10 into 14. So 10 goes into 14 1 time. And then I subtract 10, and that gives me a 4. And I'm allowed to add a 0 onto here and bring it down. And now 10 goes into 40 exactly 4 times, and I can subtract 40 here to get a 0. So my final answer is 0.14. All right, I've got 0.6 divided by 4. So 0.6 divided by 4. 4 doesn't go into 0, so I'm going to put a 0 here. I move the decimal straight up, and then 4 goes into 6 1 time. Subtract 4. That gives me a 2. I'm going to add a 0 onto here. Pull it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. And 5 times 4 is 20, so I'm down to that 0. And I have my 0.15. So the decimal just moves straight up. All right, now I'm doing 4 into 0.3. So 4 goes in 0 times. The decimal moves straight up here. Now I'm looking for 4 into 3. 4 does not go into 3, so I need a 0 above the 3. But I add a 0 here. So now I'm doing 4 into 30. And 4 goes into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. And then 30 minus 28 is 2. And I can add another 0 on and bring down the 0. Now I'm doing 4 into 20. That goes in 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And I finished the problem. Last one, I've got 0.7 divided by 5. So again, 5 doesn't go into 0. We put a 0. Move the decimal straight up. I want to know how many times 5 goes into 7, and it goes in once. So I go right above the 7. And 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract here, I have a 2. That means I need to add a 0 on, bring it down, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract that to get a 0. And I am all done.